Hey everyone and welcome to another Warframe video. The topic of today's video is going to be another one of the Archguns as part of Archwing Weapon Week, and that is the very Soma-like Phaedra. Now all the parts from the Phaedra, you can actually only farm one of them, which is kind of unfortunate, and that is the receiver, which you can get from like Archwing Exterminate missions. The rest of them can be got from the Syndicate standing, which makes this thing kind of a pain in the backside to get hold of, unless you're with those certain syndicates or unless you've got friends in them, because you're going to have to go to the trade chat to actually get hold of it. But once you do, what do you get? Well, it has slightly more base damage than the Imperative Vandal, which is quite nice. I think it's like 5 more. It's got okay crit chance, decent crit multiplier, and a very high status chance, which means it's very good for proccing status things, which, while it's good against ground enemies, actually isn't that helpful against Archwing enemies, to be perfectly honest with you. Once you put the Gravimag on it, though, it gets a bit more base damage, it gets slightly more crit, same crit multiplier, and even more status chance. Modding the Phaedra is basically the same as you're pretty much going to do with all of the Archwing crit-based weapons. It doesn't sound like it should be a crit-based weapon, but it absolutely does end up being because of its extra fire rate. So we're going to mod really around that. Rubedo Line Barrel for damage, automatic trigger to increase our fire rate as well as the rate that we actually spool up the weapon. Dual rounds for multi-shot. Paralytic Scope for crit chance, hollowed bullets for crit damage, and then we're going to go critical focus to make our crits more reliable and hit even harder. And then we're going to go with radiation damage because, as I said before, it's best against Archwing enemies, it's best against the Spider, and it's best against the Eidolon. If you're against normal enemies, though, as I'm going to show in a second, I would switch out combustion rounds for the venomous clip, for the corrosive damage that you need to take down normal enemies. This is pretty much the build that I would use. You can go dual stats if you want a bit more status, but personally I prefer the raw damage. I just don't like a status build on the Phaedra. I didn't think it was very effective at all. Plus 43% with the amount of fire rate that the Phaedra has. Going to be proccing pretty reliably anyway, so it's not too big of a deal. You could also reformer if you want it. Well, actually, if you just switch the mods around, you can actually get Sabo rounds in here as well, for the extra damage, as well as the punch through. The punch through is the big thing there. The actual damage isn't that good, honestly. You would be better off with another 90% damage mod, which you could also put in this place as well. That works fantastically too, but personally, I prefer having more reliable crits. That's just the way that I prefer to actually run this thing. So let's show it against the level 160 enemies that we actually brought the Imperative Vandal against. And let's go and show this. As you can see, it's not as effective, I don't think, personally, as the Imperative Vandal, but yeah. Because of the, this is what I was saying about the status procs, like, you can see it's proccing, like, more than reliably. And it takes those, like, 160s down, like, pretty quickly. Almost as quickly as the Imperative Vandal. Which means that this thing really is a bit of a beast. And I don't know, this is kind of the reason why I actually wouldn't mind a bit of punch through on here and, you know, putting Sabo rounds on. Just because, you know, you're going to chew through hordes of enemies. And honestly, at lower level, going Sabo rounds is actually probably better off than using the critical focus. Because you don't necessarily need the extra reliable crits, you just need to kill quicker. So, just to show off how you could do that, just switch things around here. And then you've got Sabo rounds in there. And honestly, for lower level, this is probably the build I would run, because you are going to shred absolutely everything. Once you take it into sort of salty kind of levels, or if you're against a Spider or any of those kind of things, then absolutely go with the critical focus build, because it just is so much stronger. Like, it is a lot stronger. So that's what I would do if I was against the harder to kill enemies. So with all that said and done, we've taken a quick look at the stats of the weapon, we've taken a quick look at the modding. What do I actually think of it? How does it perform in-game? Honestly, it is one of the best ground weapons, without fail. I personally don't think it has the same flair as the Imperator and the Imperative Vandal. there's something to be said that, like, while the Phaedra actually does spit out more rounds, it is actually higher fire rate than the Imperator and the Imperator Vandal. It doesn't have quite the same theatre as the other two weapons. I don't quite know what it is about it, but it just didn't have that same feel, that same excitement for me when I was actually using it as the other two did. However, there is something about the Phaedra that I really, really like. It does actually have a real nostalgic feeling for me of going back to the Soma Prime, which I have not used in the longest time. It is like running around with a gigantic Soma. It is really, really fun. And you have to admit, this thing really does look absolutely stunning. Like, I love the look of this thing. Absolutely brilliant. Like, it's really long, it's really streamlined. I like the sort of semicircular buttstock thing it's got. Absolutely brilliant looking weapon. And it's got the performance to back it up. I mean, I showed it against 160s, which, that's not a low level enemy. That's the highest that, I mean, it's way higher than, honestly, you're reasonably ever going to fight. So, it really can back up that looks with the performance as well, just like the Imperators can. It really is a bit of a powerhouse weapon, and you can see it in the background now. Just taking down those orbs. This is me doing it solo on an Inara, so there's no damage boosting in, like, in play here. The only arcanes I've got on are Grace and Guardian, so I'm not boosting my damage with that. There's no abilities at play here. This is all the weapon, and it is absolutely brilliant at it. I really like the Phaedra. It's one of the most underappreciated weapons, I think it is. And I really think that if you like the Imperator, you should give this thing a go, because honestly, if you like one, you're gonna absolutely love the other. So I hope you enjoyed my look at this weapon. I'm going to be back tomorrow with possibly the Grappler. We'll see how it goes. But thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the weapon in the comments below, and I shall see you in the next one.